Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. And in this particular video, I really wanted to talk to you about how do you actually get into the best business schools in the United States, in the US. I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and this is something that I think lots of you actually think about is how do you actually get into business school, whether it is you want to start going into a graduate program like an MBA, for example, or maybe you want to go do a PhD, which, that's something that this channel is all about. But in general, you're probably curious about how to actually get into graduate school. What is the things that we look for as professors and as administration sort of folks that are going through this kind of stuff? And, what are the key things that you should be actually doing? It's actually pretty easy, to be honest. So there are three things that you have to sort of address with any sort of letter or any sort of application that you do for your graduate school application of getting into a business school. The first one is you have to score fairly high on any standardized tests. And that's just kind of like a threshold or a hurdle to get around, right? So any school is going to require you to write what's either a GRE, which is a graduate school admissions test, or the GMAT, which is the business school admissions test. And the GMAT is geared towards MBAs, but it's also accepted to get into PhD programs around the country. And you just need to meet a level of threshold. And really what that is, this is kind of like the first hurdle that any business school uses, and doesn't matter which school you're going to look at. They might say that they don't use those particular kind of metrics, but typically they will, and they just kind of use it as a method to sort of screen out applicants that are below a particular threshold. Whatever that is, it's usually much more lower than what the average GMAT that they have for the school. But it's just kind of a way that, okay, we're not going to look at those particular individuals. So you need to score high enough on those GMAT or those standardized test scores to get in. So I would recommend to score high enough, take a course. When I went through and did my own sort of GMAT kind of stuff, I didn't do that. I studied for a couple of weeks, studied really hard, but I wish I would actually studied and took a couple of courses and did that maybe over a course of 6 months to a year. Would probably be a sort of a good time frame to get in, because I do have friends that did that and they scored exceptionally high, which gave them more opportunities to go to different places and things like that. So that's one thing that you should think about. The second thing is you have to sort of convince people and write in your application that you've done something remarkable, or that you are going to make the school proud in some sort of way going forward. Either, bringing that person on board as saying that this person is remarkable, or that they are going to be an outstanding person going forward and change the world, right? Wherever that is, and you have to sort of make some sort of convincing argument, whatever that is, and you just have to sort of be careful that you illustrate what you've done. So if you haven't done that yet, I would go out and start trying to do something remarkable. Doesn't mean that you have done something that is cool and amazing, but we are looking for whether you actually tried to do something, and that's definitely a key thing, is an indicator of, okay, what are you going to do going forward? And then the third thing is you need people to vouch for you, that you're equally impressive and that they sort of believe in you. So you can make up a whole bunch of stories and stuff, how wonderful you are. We just need people to vouch for you, to suggest that you are really cool and you are that true person that can actually do what you're writing, right? Or you've attempted to do what you're writing about, right? So depending on what school you're getting into, these two criteria are going to change in terms of the importance and what this sort of story is being told in those particular schools, right? So if you're at the top business schools, they're going to want something extraordinarily remarkable. And as you sort of move down the pecking order in business schools, and there's a pecking order, we're well aware of this pecking order, so it's not kind of scary in any sort of way. As you move down that pecking order, they're going to look for sort of less remarkable stories going forward. But if you want to get into the best ones, you have to be like, wow. You have to wow people in a lot of different ways, right? However that is, I don't know what that's going to be or what your story is, but that's really what you're trying to do, and to have people that are credible, that are vouching for you, right? So that's the key criterion that we look for when you are some sort of potential candidate, either getting an MBA in a top business school in America, or if you're getting a PhD or you want to get a PhD in any of these particular schools. So really what we're looking for, if you haven't figured it out, we are looking for people that are going to change the world in some sort of way. And if we can bring those people on and they become alumni going forward, that they actually did change the world, and however you want to define, and how small, whatever that is, but we're looking for somebody that is going to change the world. And once we bring those people on and they do change the world, we're trying to make a prediction that they're going to change the world in 10, 20, 30 years from now. That's going to be amazing. And so that's all we're trying to do with the business school admission process. And that's really what you have to think about and that's what you have to sort of think about, is how to get into the best business schools in the United States. Is really truly think about how am I, and how are you actually going to change the world in some sort of way, and how can I get people to vouch for me that I'm going to change the world in some sort of way. So if you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.